I'm very gratified by this interest in cannabis and spirituality. So let's talk about the Sufis, the mystic branch of Islam, and their long traditions with cannabis and hashish. And I'll end with a classic medieval poem about cannabis from a Sufi poet. I'm Lex Pelger. I do canna education for CV Sciences, the makers of Plus CBD, who has excellent CBD products for the body and THC products for the soul. When you look up Sufis and cannabis, you often see the Sufis referred to as the hippies of the Islamic world. And I don't feel like that's an accurate representation because they are mystics. They are talking about trying to find ways to achieve unity with the divinity, similar to the Christian mystic tradition, similar to the Kabbalah of the Judaic tradition. And so there's even an important idea that perhaps when the idea of romantic love was first introduced into the West during the Middle Ages, that actually was these bards of the West getting this idea from Sufi poets who are talking about an almost sexual longing for the divinity, similar to the Song of Solomon in the Bible. And that these songs were taken up by the bards and interpreted to be love between two people, and that's what sparked the idea of romantic love in the Middle Ages that grew from there. So the Sufis are known for using many different ways to access altered states, whether it be by spinning or singing or mantras or visualization techniques, or indeed the use of cannabis and hashish. And so one of the most famous saints is Haydar. He founded his own school of Sufism. And so he was in the ascetic tradition. He was practicing a lot of denying of the body type practices. And then one day he went out for a walk and he saw a leaf that felt like it was glittering, as the story goes. And he ate those leaves and he came home to his disciples and he was just a chatterbox. He was talking away. He was buoyant and delighted, and they said, what happened? And he mentioned this plant, and they went out and they all started eating it as well, and they realized that this is one of the ways to find that access to divinity. And at that time, Haydar made them swear to keep it to themselves, that this is one of those tools that should only be known by initiates. Also, to stress the importance of cannabis in Islam, cannabis is associated with Elijah, who in that tradition is known as Al-Qadir or Qazir. And so this incredibly important prophet is also called the mystic, green one, the verdant one. And to the Sufis, Elijah is very much associated with hashish and that way to connect to the divinity. One thing to know that in the Quran, while alcohol is expressly haram, the cannabis is not. It really isn't mentioned. And so it's up to the religious scholars to make rulings on this. And so this review article was a really fascinating look at the history of Islam and cannabis and what has been said about it over the years, and also a talk with 8 different religious scholars in Iran today. And most of them said, if this is being used as a medicine, it's okay. If it's being used as a psychoactive, it isn't. For a more gonzo journalism take on the history of Islam and hashish, this Michael Muhammad Knight book is really great and fascinating. Finally, let's end on that poem on the mystical uses of cannabis by the medieval Sufi poet Ibn al-Ama, called Haydar's Emerald Cup. Give up wine and drink from the wine of Haydar, amber scented, green the color of emerald. It is presented to you by a Turkish gazelle, slender, swaying like a willow bough, delicate. In his hand you would think, as he turns it, it is like the traces of down on a rosy cheek. The slightest breeze makes it reel, and it flutters towards the coolness of the continuing breeze. The grayish pigeons coo upon its branches in the morning, and the cadences of the warbling doves cause it emotion. It has many meanings, the like of which are unknown to wine. Therefore do not listen with respect to it, to the words of the old censor. It is virginal, not deflowered by rain, nor has it ever been squeezed by feet or hands. No Christian priest has ever played around with a cup containing it, nor have they ever communion from its cask to any heretic soul. Nothing has been said expressly from Malik to declare it unlawful, nor is the had penalty for its use prescribed. Thus take it with the sharp edge of steel. Stay the hands of worry with keef, hashish, and achieve joyful repose. Do not lightly postpone the day of joy till tomorrow. The days will show you what you are ignorant of, and someone for whom you did not provide to serve as your messenger will bring you the news.